Most people do not fail because they are weak. They fail because they slowly get used to a life that does not fit the fire inside them. They laugh with people. They post their little updates. They act fine, but deep down, they carry one quiet fear that keeps them awake at night. What if average is all I will ever be? And once a man starts believing that lie, he begins to bury himself while still breathing. So if you are tired of fake comfort and you want a voice that will tell you the truth, stand beside you and remind you who you really are, stay close and give this channel a place in your life. Hear me clearly right now. You were not built to be average. You were not built to be average. I know some of you are tired. I know some of you have tried before. I know what it feels like to promise yourself that this time will be different and then watch another week slip away, then another month, then another year. That pain is real. That shame is real. That quiet anger you feel when you see your own potential wasting away is real. But here is the truth bomb. Nobody likes to say out loud. Your life will not change because you are sad about it. Your life will not change because you are sick of your habits. Your life will not change because you know you could be more. It changes when you stop treating your potential like a toy and start treating it like a duty. Average is not something you were born to be. Average is something people drift into when they stop asking hard questions, stop making hard choices, and stop expecting more from themselves. Think about that. A seed can sit in the dirt for years, and if the soil is cold and the sun never touches it, it looks dead. But it is not dead. It is undeveloped. That is where a lot of people are. Not broken, not useless, not finished, just buried under fear, buried under delay, buried under habits that choke the life out of them. And the tragedy is not that they had no greatness. The tragedy is that they adjusted to living without it. They got used to being half awake. They got used to almost trying. They got used to saying maybe later, maybe next month, maybe when I feel ready. Days become weeks, weeks become months, months become years. And then one day they wake up and call that life. Listen to me. You do not need a whole new life tonight. You need a new decision. A seed does not become a tree in one afternoon. It breaks open first. It gets uncomfortable first. It gets stretched first. That is why growth feels strange. It is not because you are doing something wrong. It is because something small is trying to become something strong. And too many people run from that feeling. They say this is hard. They say this is not me. They say maybe I am just not meant for more. No, stop that. Hard does not mean wrong. Hard means you are leaving the shallow end. Hard means your old excuses are losing air. Hard means the weaker version of you is being asked to step aside. Let that settle in. You were not built to be average. You were built for depth. You were built for strength. You were built for growth. The reason average hurts you so much is because your soul knows it does not fit. That is why sleeping in after another empty night makes you feel worse, not better. That is why wasting your gifts feels like a kind of slow death. That is why you can sit in a room full of people and still feel disappointed in yourself, because there is something in you that knows this is not it. This is not your ceiling. This is not your final shape. And I want to be careful here because I am not talking about being famous. I'm not talking about being rich just to impress people. I'm not talking about building some fake perfect image. I'm talking about being fully awake in your own life. I'm talking about using what you were given. I am talking about going to bed with peace because you know you showed up. Not perfect, not polished, not finished, but honest. A lot of people think average means having simple goals. No, average is not about the size of the dream. Average is about how little of yourself you bring to the life you already have. A man can work a normal job, live in a small place, and still be extraordinary because of the discipline, care, courage, and excellence he brings to his days. And another man can talk big, dream big, post big, and still be average because he never follows through on anything that matters. So the question is not how big does your life look from the outside. The question is how much of you is actually in it. Are you hiding inside comfort? Are you hiding inside jokes? Are you hiding inside distractions? Are you hiding inside the sentence, this is just who I am? Because sometimes that sentence is not honesty. Sometimes it is surrender wearing a name tag. Sometimes it is fear trying to sound wise. Sometimes it is a smaller version of you begging not to be challenged. No more shrinking. No more soft deals with your own excuses. No more pretending that staying the same is safe when staying the same is what is breaking your heart. You do not need to become somebody else. You need to stop abandoning who you already know you could be. So let me ask you something, and I want this question to sit in your chest for a minute. How much longer are you going to keep calling your hiding a personality when you know it is really fear? Now, once you see that, the next truth gets even sharper. Your life is built like a wall, brick by brick, not dream by dream. Not wish by wish, brick by brick. One choice, one habit, one kept promise at a time. And that is both the bad news and the good news. The bad news is nobody can lay your bricks for you. The good news is nobody can stop you from laying them either. A lot of us waste years staring at the whole wall. We get overwhelmed by how far we have to go. We think about the body we want, the money we want, the peace we want, the confidence we want, and because the full picture looks huge, we do nothing. We freeze, we delay, we drift. But walls are never built that way. Nobody builds a wall by standing there crying about how many bricks it will take. They pick one up, then another, then another. That is how a future is made. Not in one giant moment, in small moments repeated with respect. Think about how many people are waiting for lightning, waiting for some perfect morning where they wake up hungry, focused, fearless, and full of energy. That morning may come once in a while, but if your whole life depends on feeling magical before you move, you are going to stay stuck a very long time. Because most of life is not dramatic. Most of life is plain, quiet, repetitive. The people who become rare are usually the people who learn how to honor the plain days. They make the call when they do not feel like it. They go to the gym when their mood says no. They save the money when their craving says spend it. They read the page. They take the walk. They clean the room. They do the work that does not get applause. And because of that, they slowly build a life that other people mistake for luck. There is no luck in a brick wall. There is evidence. There are choices stacked on choices. There are early mornings nobody saw. There are nights when they wanted to quit and did not. There are boring days when they stayed faithful to the plan. That is what strength looks like in real life. Not loud, not flashy, not always exciting, just solid, just steady, just there. Let me say something hard but freeing. No one is coming to rescue your mornings. No one is coming to force you to be disciplined. No one is coming to drag your future to your front door. I know that stings, but it should also wake you up. Because if no one is coming, then we can stop waiting. If no one is coming, then we can stop blaming. If no one is coming, then we can stop rehearsing the same old story about why we are behind. Ownership is heavy, yes, but ownership is also power. The moment you say this is on me, you stop being helpless. The moment you say this is my wall, you stop begging life to be easier and start becoming stronger. Average people want results without structure. They want confidence without action. They want change without discomfort. They want the wall without laying the bricks. But life does not work that way. You earn your future by how you spend your ordinary hours. You earn your self-respect by keeping the small promises you make when nobody is looking. You earn momentum by moving before your feelings vote yes, brick by brick, page by page, step by step. That is why I tell young men all the time, do not insult your future by waiting for giant moves. Giant moves are usually built on tiny moves done with consistency. The first workout, the first saved $100, the first honest apology, the first night you put the phone down and sit alone with your own thoughts, the first morning you get up when the bed feels heavier than your goals. Those moments matter. Those are bricks. Those moments are votes. Every time you act with discipline, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. Every time you fold under comfort, you cast a vote for the person you say you hate being. And after enough votes, an identity is formed. That is why you were not built to be average. And average is what happens when a strong person keeps making weak bargains with the day in front of him. So stop trying to win the whole year tonight. Win this hour. Win this choice. Win this brick. Then do it again and again and again. That is how walls rise. That is how men change. That is how respect returns to your own eyes when you look in the mirror. So answer this with your life, not just your mouth. If no one is coming to save you, what brick are you going to lay before this day ends? And once you start laying bricks, you learn something even more important. The wall is not only built by effort, it is built by repetition. Repetition is the secret place where weak people quit and strong people are born. We all love the big moment, the speech, the breakthrough, the before and after photo, the comeback story, but almost nobody falls in love with the reps, and the reps are where your future is hiding. A push-up looks small. One push-up is almost nothing, but do enough of them and your body changes. Your posture changes, your energy changes, your identity changes. The rep is small. The result is not. Life works like that everywhere. One day of reading feels small. One day of prayer feels small. One day of getting up early feels small. One day of saying no to the easy escape feels small. But stack those days, and suddenly the person in the mirror starts to look different. Not because of magic, because of reps, because you trained yourself, because you stopped treating discipline like punishment and started seeing it as proof of self-respect. Here is the mistake a lot of people make. They think motivation is the engine. It is not. Motivation is a spark. Good. Useful, beautiful sometimes. But a spark fades. Discipline is the engine. Repetition is the engine. Routine is the engine. When you do the right thing enough times, even when you do not feel inspired, you stop being a man who hopes he will change and become a man who can be trusted to change. That is a big difference, because one man lives on wishes, the other lives on proof. And proof is powerful. Proof silences doubt. Proof quiets the voice that says, maybe I cannot do this. Proof gives you something real to stand on. That is why small wins matter so much. Make your bed, keep your word, finish the set, send the email, read the chapter, take the walk. None of these things look heroic by themselves, but they teach your nervous system, your mind, your spirit one simple message. When I say I will do something, I do it. Think about that. How many people are suffering not because they lack talent, but because they no longer trust themselves? They have broken so many promises to themselves that every new goal sounds fake before they even begin. That is a painful place to live, but it is not permanent. Trust can be rebuilt the same way it was destroyed. One choice at a time, one kept word at a time, one rep at a time. You do not get stronger by announcing it. You get stronger by doing one more rep after your comfort starts whining. You do not become confident by posting quotes. You become confident by surviving your own resistance again and again until your mind finally says, all right, this man is serious. The gym teaches this, the page teaches this, the cold morning teaches this. Repetition humbles you, but it also rebuilds you. It sands off the lazy edges. It burns away the drama. It makes you less dependent on mood and more anchored in principle. And that is freedom. Real freedom is not doing whatever you feel. Real freedom is not being ruled by every feeling that shows up. If your mood can control your actions, you are not free. You are being led around by weather. One cloudy day and you stop. One bad week and you disappear. One moment of doubt and you abandon the path. No, we are done living like leaves in the wind. A leaf goes wherever the breeze pushes it. A man with discipline chooses his direction. A leaf reacts. A disciplined man responds. A leaf has no roots. A disciplined man grows them through repetition. That is why the boring days matter. That is why the simple habits matter. That is why the rep you almost skip matters. Because every rep is either feeding your future or feeding your weakness. Every rep is saying, I bend to comfort or I train through it. And let me be honest with you, the first few weeks often feel ugly. You will feel slow. You will feel clumsy. You will feel like nothing is happening. Good. Keep going. The seed under the ground does not panic because nobody can see it yet. The muscle does not quit because one workout changed nothing. The man who understands reps knows that invisible progress is still progress. Let that settle in. You were not built to be average. You were built to be forged, built through pressure, built through practice, built through the quiet dignity of doing the work again when nobody is cheering. So when the day is done and the room gets silent and there is no crowd to clap for you, which version of you showed up when it counted? But discipline alone is not enough if your environment keeps feeding your worst self. You can have a strong seed and still get weak fruit if the soil is poisoned. That is true in gardens and it is true in life. Some of you are trying to grow in places that keep shrinking you. You're around people who laugh at effort, people who make excuses sound normal, people who call your hunger too much because your growth reminds them of their own neglect. Be careful who gets a front row seat in your mind. Be careful what voices you let repeat inside your head. Because the human mind is like soil. Whatever gets planted over and over begins to grow roots. If every day you feed yourself doubt, noise, comparison, and cheap distraction, do not be shocked when your inner life starts producing confusion. We cannot plant weeds and pray for wheat. It does not work like that. A lot of people say they want peace, but their day is built like chaos. They wake up and grab the phone. They let strangers shape their mood. They compare their behind-the-scenes life to someone else's highlight reel. They flood their mind with drama, desire, anger, gossip, and then wonder why they feel scattered. No wonder. You are trying to hear your own purpose through a room full of noise. Turn some of it down. Maybe not everybody deserves access to you. Maybe not every invitation is good for you. Maybe not every relationship is love just because it is familiar. Maybe some habits have your name in their mouth but not your future in their heart. Think about that. We talk a lot about working hard, but we do not talk enough about guarding the gate. A king can have soldiers, strength, and strategy. But if the gate stays open to every enemy, the kingdom still falls. Your mind has a gate. Your standards have a gate. Your time has a gate. Your attention has a gate. Guard it. Guard it from people who feed your excuses. Guard it from endless scrolling. Guard it from the need to be liked by everybody, because that one is deadly. Chasing approval is one of the fastest ways to betray your own path. When you need everybody to agree with your growth, you will only grow to the size of their comfort. And many people are only comfortable with the version of you that stays easy to control. The moment you get serious, some will call you distant. The moment you get focused, some will call you selfish. The moment you stop laughing at everything and start building something, some will say you changed. Good. Sometimes changing is the proof that healing is finally happening. Sometimes distance is wisdom. Sometimes silence is strength. Sometimes outgrowing old rooms is exactly what your life needs. You do not owe everybody access to your becoming. Read that with your heart. Your future deserves protection. Your standards deserve protection. Your peace deserves protection. This does not mean you become cold. It does not mean you become arrogant. It means you stop being careless with your energy. It means you choose what helps you rise. Better books, better friends, better habits, better thoughts, better boundaries. Little by little, the soil changes. And when the soil changes, the fruit changes. Your speech changes, your posture changes, your choices change, your tolerance for nonsense changes. You stop enjoying what once kept you numb. You stop fitting into spaces that once felt normal. That is not you becoming strange. That is you becoming aligned. You were not built to be average, and average grows easiest in minds that never protect what enters them. So ask yourself this with complete honesty. Whose approval are you still renting your future to? Now, if you can guard your mind, keep your reps, and lay your bricks, there is one last truth you have to face. Time is moving whether you move or not. The clock does not care about your excuses. The years do not pause while you figure yourself out. Seasons change, hair grays, parents age, opportunities pass, bodies stiffen, dreams either get built or get buried. That is why this matters so much. This is not just about success. This is about the kind of man you become while time is passing. Because time will pass anyway. The question is, what will it find you becoming? Will it find you sharper or softer? Will it find you braver or more bitter? Will it find you building or blaming? Too many people live as if they have endless time to waste. They treat mornings like they are cheap. They treat months like they are replaceable. They say, I will get serious later. Later after this season. Later after this trip. Later after I feel more ready. But later is one of the most dangerous words in the world when it becomes a hiding place. Later can steal a decade. Later can empty a dream. Later can turn a strong young heart into an older heart full of regret. I do not want that for you. I do not want you waking up one day with wisdom in your head and sorrow in your chest because you finally see what you could have been if you had just started when it was still hard and messy and unclear. Start now. Start tired. Start unsure. Start imperfect. But start. A man does not become his future self by waiting for a better mood. He becomes him by respecting time enough to move while fear is still talking. We like to imagine transformation as one giant moment, but a better picture is the seasons. Winter feels dead, but roots are deepening. Spring looks small, but life is breaking through. Summer brings growth, but only because somebody stayed patient. Fall brings fruit, but only after long hidden work. Do not despise your winter. Do not panic in your spring. Do not waste your summer. Do not expect fall if you never planted anything. Seasons teach us that becoming has timing, becoming has process, becoming has stages. But every healthy season still requires participation. The farmer cannot scream at an empty field in fall if he spent spring sleeping. That is not bad luck. That is neglect. In the same way, you cannot keep ignoring your gifts, your body, your calling, your discipline, and then act surprised when life feels flat. Flat is often the fruit of repeated neglect. But the beauty is this: the same time that can expose neglect can also reward effort. 1 year of serious focus can change your body. 1 year of clean habits can change your mind. 1 year of honest work can change your money. 1 year of learning to keep your word can change your confidence. 1 year can redraw a life. And where does that year begin? In one day. In this day. In the day you stop negotiating with weakness and start building with conviction. You were not built to be average. You were not built to drift through your own life like a guest. You were built to engage it, to shape it, to answer it, to honor the time you have been given. One day your future self is going to look back at this season. He is going to remember the nights you wanted to quit. He is going to remember the mornings you got up anyway. He is going to remember the discipline nobody saw, the choices nobody praised, the standards nobody understood. And from that future place, one question matters more than all the rest. When your future self looks back at this season, will he call it the time you drifted or the time you finally decided? Remember the first truth: most people do not fail because they are weak. They fail because they keep agreeing to live below what they know. Do not agree anymore. One day, you are going to wake up in a room that peace built. You are going to look in the mirror and see a face that kept its word. You're going to walk with more strength in your shoulders and more calm in your chest. Your family is going to feel the difference before they even have words for it. Your mind is going to be clearer. Your habits are going to be cleaner. Your eyes are going to carry that quiet look of a man who finally stopped running from himself. You will remember this moment. You will remember the day you stopped asking life to make you different and started demanding more from your own hands. You will remember the nights you chose discipline over escape. You will remember the mornings you chose purpose over comfort. You will remember the small steps that looked boring but became your breakthrough. And you will smile, not because it was easy, but because you finally became someone you could trust. Hear me one last time. You were not built to be average. You were not built to sleep through your own calling. You were not built to trade your future for comfort. Stand up in your spirit before you stand up anywhere else. Draw the line. Keep the promise. Lay the brick. Do the rep. Guard the gate. Respect the season. Become the man your younger self hoped was possible. Become the man your future self will thank. Become the man who can look at his life without flinching. No excuses, no waiting, no quitting, just becoming unstoppable.